Welcome to my channel, USA Battle Zone. Today's story is one that'll grip your heart and leave you speechless. It's about a young woman who stared death in the face, not once, not twice, but 7 times. And lived to tell a story that would shake the hearts of the Marines themselves. So sit back, turn up your sound, and let's step into the battlefield, where courage has no gender, and sacrifice knows no limit. Her name was Lena Matthews, a 27-year-old medic with a heart bigger than the battlefield she walked on. She had joined the U.S. Army not because she wanted glory, but because she couldn't stand watching others suffer while she stayed safe. Her father had served before her, a Marine who never made it home from Fallujah. So when Lena put on that uniform, it wasn't just duty. It was legacy. That morning, the sun had barely risen over the mountains of Helmand province. The squad was deep into a patrol, tired, sweating, eyes scanning the horizon for threats that could come from anywhere. They were supposed to be heading back to base. But fate had other plans. A sudden blast ripped through the convoy. The lead vehicle went up in flames, smoke spiraling into the air. Men screamed for help. Dust filled the lungs. Chaos swallowed the desert. Lena didn't wait for orders. She jumped out of her Humvee with her med bag swinging at her side, sprinting toward the wreckage while bullets cracked through the air. She could hear her squad leader yelling, "Matthews, stay down." But she didn't, because she could already see him, Corporal Danvers, lying half under the burning truck, leg mangled, blood everywhere. She slid to his side, ignoring the burning heat against her skin. "Stay with me, Danvers. You're not dying today," she shouted over the chaos. She managed to pull him free. Every heartbeat felt like thunder. She wrapped a tourniquet, pressed down on the bleeding, and called for evac. But that's when she felt it. A sudden, sharp pain in her back. Then another, and another. A shadow had come up behind her, an enemy insurgent, hidden in the smoke. 7 times the blade went in before one of her teammates dropped the attacker with a burst of fire. Lena fell beside the soldier she had just saved. Blood soaked the sand, her vision blurred. The last thing she remembered was the sound of Danvers whispering, "Don't you die on me, Doc. You saved me, now let me save you." She woke up 2 days later. In a field hospital, her body stitched, bruised, trembling but alive. The doctors said it was a miracle. 7 stab wounds, 2 broken ribs, and yet, she survived. When they told her Danvers made it too, because of her, she smiled through the pain. That smile lit up the whole tent. But Lena's story didn't end there. Weeks later, Lena was back home discharged, recovering, trying to find her way through the silence of civilian life. Every night, she'd wake up to the echoes of gunfire in her dreams. The smell of sand, the flash of a knife. She tried to be normal, to go for walks, to help at the local clinic, to smile when neighbors said, "Thank you for your service." But there was something missing. Something she couldn't name. Then, one cold morning, there was a knock at her door. She opened it and there they were. 3 Marines, full dress blues, standing tall. The man in front, an older Marine, with gray at his temples, saluted her. "Ma'am," he said, voice trembling just a bit, "we're here to pay our respects." Lena blinked, confused. Respects? For what? The Marine stepped forward and handed her a small velvet box. Inside it a medal. Not just any medal. The Navy and Marine Corps Medal for heroism, the highest honor for non-combat bravery. It turned out, word of what Lena did had spread through the entire Corps. How she had thrown herself into fire to save a Marine who wasn't even in her unit. How she'd bled for him, and lived. And so the Marines came to her door not because they had to, but because they wanted to. Because to them, she wasn't just a soldier. She was one of them. The older Marine looked her in the eye and said, "Ma'am, Marines take care of their own. And that includes the ones who fought beside us when it mattered most." Lena tried to speak, but her voice broke. Tears fell before she even realized they were there. That moment, on a quiet street in America, was more powerful than any battlefield. It was the moment Lena realized that bravery isn't about being unafraid. It's about being terrified, and still running into the fire anyway. Those Marines didn't come to give her a medal. They came to give her honor. And in return, she gave them something even greater, a reminder of what it means to fight for each other. Corporal Danvers visited her not long after. He was walking again, still limping, but alive. He hugged her and whispered, "I owe you my life. You didn't just save me, you saved my belief in what we stand for." Lena smiled and said, "You don't owe me anything, Marine. We just do what we can for each other, that's the deal." They laughed, both of them knowing the unspoken truth, that some debts can never be repaid. A few weeks later, she drove to Arlington. The winter wind was sharp that day. She stood at her father's grave, the medal in her hand. She placed it gently beside his name and whispered, "I finally understand why you did it, Dad. It wasn't about war. It was about love for the ones beside you." The wind carried her words into the trees. Somewhere in that moment, she felt peace. Now, years later, Lena travels to military bases across the country. She tells her story not to talk about pain or glory, but to remind young soldiers that courage isn't something you find on a battlefield. It's something you build inside your heart. She ends every talk with the same words. You can be scared, you can bleed, you can fall, but never stop reaching for the person next to you. Because when the bullets stop flying, it's the love you showed that'll outlive the war. Lena Matthews became a symbol of something the Marines will never forget. The medic who bled for a brother in arms. The woman who turned pain into purpose. The hero who didn't wear armor, just heart. And even though the scars remain, each one tells a story. A story of defiance, of compassion, of what it truly means to serve. If this story touched your heart, if it made you feel proud of the people who stand in harm's way so we can live in peace, then don't just scroll away. Take a moment to remember the ones who gave everything. Hit that like button. Leave a comment for Lena and every hero who's ever risked it all. And if you believe in the spirit of courage, subscribe to this channel because here, we tell the stories that America should never forget. This is USA Battle Zone, where honor lives on, and heroes never die.